Welcome! Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on something absolutely critical but almost totally invisible in high-risk industries. We're talking about the incredible planning that stops disasters before they even get a chance to happen.
So think about this for a second. How do you stop something catastrophic, like an explosion, before it's even a remote possibility? Well, the answer isn't just about luck or reacting fast. It's about being able to see the future. In industries that move really volatile stuff like diesel fuel, stopping a disaster starts with a question, a checklist, and a rock-solid plan. That's exactly what it is, a ritual. It's a formal, repeatable, and completely non-negotiable process. You see, safety is never an accident. It's a very deliberate system that's designed to manage chaos. And today, we're going to dig into the safety policy for diesel haulage operations to see exactly how they pull it off. Okay, let's lay out the roadmap. First, we'll get a handle on the real dangers involved. Then, we'll walk through the safety plan itself. It's this really cool 6-step process that even has a way to calculate risk. We'll wrap things up by looking at that all-important final sign-off and the huge impact all this planning actually has.
So first things first, before you can even begin to control risk, you have to understand it, right? So what are we really talking about when you're moving thousands of liters of diesel fuel across the country?
Well, if you look at this, you can see just how many different kinds of risk there are. It goes way beyond just the fuel. You've got mechanical stuff, like a hose bursting. You've got behavioral things, like a driver who's tired or speeding. Then there are environmental factors, bad weather, fog, and you even have to plan for security threats, like a robbery. Every single one of these needs its own specific plan.
So how in the world do you manage all those different variables? You sure don't leave it to chance. You use a formal system, and in this case, it's called the Pre-Work Hazard Risk Assessment Process.
PW-HRAP. Yeah, I know, it's a bit of a mouthful, but the idea behind it is actually pretty simple and incredibly powerful. Think of it as a mandatory safety blueprint that the team creates for every single job before a single wheel turns or a single drop of fuel is pumped. The key word there is before. This is all about being proactive, not reactive.
And this slide right here shows something crucial. Safety isn't just one person's job. It's a total team effort. You've got the supervisor who's leading the charge, you've got the health and safety officer who makes sure the controls are solid, and you have the driver who's right there on the front lines, helping to spot hazards no one else would see. Everyone has a role, and everyone is accountable.
So this team approach isn't random. It follows a really clear, logical sequence of events. The PW-HRAP isn't just some casual meeting. It's a structured 6-step process that takes the team all the way from a simple idea to a fully authorized green light.
It all starts really simply. Okay, what are we actually doing today? From there, what could possibly go wrong? Then, all right, how badly could it go wrong? And the most important question, what are we gonna do about it? After a final huddle to make sure everyone's on the exact same page, and only then does the supervisor give that final sign-off.
Now, just knowing a risk exists is, well, it's pretty useless on its own. The real work, the part that actually saves lives, is in step 4, applying controls. And to do this the right way, professionals use this really powerful framework called the hierarchy of controls.
Think of this like a pyramid, where the best, most effective solutions are at the top. At the very peak, you have elimination. I mean, the best option is to just get rid of the hazard completely, maybe by avoiding a dangerous road altogether. All the way down at the bottom, your last line of defense is PPE, things like gloves and helmets. They're important for sure, but they only protect one person. The whole point of this hierarchy is to solve the problem at the source, long before it ever gets to the worker.
Okay, now we get to the part I find absolutely fascinating. How does the team decide which risks need the most attention? Well, they don't guess. They actually do the math.
They use this incredibly simple but really effective formula. Every single hazard they can think of gets scored. First, how likely is it to happen? That gets a score from 1 to 5. And second, if it does happen, how bad will the consequences be? Again, a score from 1 to 5. You just multiply those two numbers together and you get a final risk score. And that score gets plotted on a risk matrix, just like this one. You see, a low score, something between 1 and 4, means you're good to go. Just be careful. But once you start getting into the high and critical zones, everything changes. A score of 16 or higher means one thing and one thing only. Work must stop. Full stop. Let's look at a real-world example here. A potential hose leak while transferring fuel. The team decides the likelihood is a 4.
Yeah, it's pretty possible. And the severity? Also a 4. A fuel spill could easily cause a fire. So, likelihood times severity. That gives it a risk score of
16.
And according to that matrix, a score of 16 is critical. So the decision is made for them. The job is an immediate no-go. The team literally cannot start until they put new controls in place, like getting a brand new hose or having extra fire extinguishers ready, to bring that score down to an acceptable level.
So, after all the hazards have been found, all the risks have been calculated, and all the controls are ready to go, there is one last checkpoint. This is the moment of truth.
Before any work starts, the whole team gets together for one last final toolbox talk. They go over the plan one last time, and everyone, from the driver to the newest person on site, has to verbally confirm they get the risks and they know what they have to do. Only when every single person is on board does the supervisor give that final, authorized sign-off.
I know it might sound like a whole lot of paperwork and meetings, but this proactive process is the absolute bedrock of safety in any high-risk job. So what's the real impact of doing all this prep work?
Why does all this matter? Well, because it saves lives. It's that simple. It protects incredibly expensive equipment, and it prevents environmental disasters. It builds a culture where people don't just hope to be safe, they are actively empowered to create a safe environment. And at the end of the day, it's what ensures that the essential resources we all depend on get delivered safely, day in and day out.
So the next time you see a fuel truck on the highway, you'll know about the incredible amount of invisible work that happened before its journey even started. It's a really powerful reminder that our modern world is built on these proactive safety plans running in the background all the time, from the plane you fly in to the power plant that lights your home. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What invisible safety plans are protecting you right now?